Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the latest in our series of Doha debates, coming to you from the Gulf state of Qatar and sponsored by the Qatar Foundation. In March, judges at the International Criminal Court went ahead and issued an arrest warrant for Sudan's President Omar Hassan al-Bashir, the first time this has happened to a sitting head of state. He stands accused of war crimes and crimes against humanity, which he denies. But the indictment has divided opinion around the world. Many are calling for the president's immediate arrest. Others, including the Arab League, reject the charges against him. One official called the court a mechanism of neo-colonialist policy used by the West against free and independent countries. Well, our motion tonight stands at the heart of the controversy. This House believes that Arab states should hand over the Sudanese president to the International Criminal Court. And our speakers reflect the sharp divisions over this issue. Speaking for the motion, Ahmed Hussain Adam, for 6 years the main spokesman for the most active of Sudan's rebel groups, the Justice and Equality Movement. He was one of its main negotiators in talks with Sudan's government here in Doha in February, where the two sides agreed on a declaration of intent to try to end the conflict in Darfur. With him, Hani Shukrallah, head of Egypt's Heikal Foundation for Arab Journalism. He's also a founding member of the Egyptian Organization for Human Rights and a consultant to the Al-Akram Center for Political and Strategic Studies, one of the leading think tanks in the Middle East. Now, speaking against the motion, Roland Marchal, Senior Research Fellow at the Center for Study and International Research at Sciences Po in Paris, and an expert on politics and conflict in Africa. He's written extensively on Darfur, Chad, and Somalia. And with him, Ghazi Atabani, an advisor to Sudan's president and a member of both Parliament and the Leadership Council of the National Congress Party. He has wide experience at the highest levels of government, including such posts as Minister of Communications and Minister of Information. Ladies and gentlemen, our panel. So now let me first call on Ahmed Hussain Adam to speak for the motion.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I'm very much in favor of this motion. As a matter of fact, I'm strongly support this motion that the Arab states should hand over al-Bashir to the International Criminal Court, because I believe that al-Bashir has committed war crimes and crimes against humanity, and he should be accountable and held accountable before the court of law. And the only court of law, the only legal organ which can prosecute al-Bashir is the International Criminal Court. Because in Sudan we cannot serve justice. In Sudan we cannot do this job because al-Bashir is in control in everything, and we don't have any laws actually which prescribe war crimes and crimes against humanity. And I think that prosecuting al-Bashir before the International Criminal Court is a good thing. It's good for the people of Darfur, good for the Sudan, good for the entire world. And I think that this is the only way that we can fight and combat the impunity. This is the only way that we can send a strong message to dictators and human rights violators around the world. And this is the only way that we can respond positively to the victims right now who are watching us here and watching actually the result of this debate. And I think, I believe that, and I urge the audience actually to support this motion because it is good for our people, and it's good for the Arab world, it's good also for the Africa. And I think that it is a good thing to do, because you cannot leave these people actually kill us in the name of sovereignty, in the name of domestic jurisdiction, and also killing us in the name of fighting the Western conspiracy. I think the indictment of al-Bashir will be a good thing to do, because we are going to have a better world without a dictator like al-Bashir. Thank you very much.
Ahmed Hussain Adam, thank you very much. I'm puzzled by your stand. On the one hand, you sit down with President Bashir's administration to talk peace, and on the other hand, you want him carted off to the International Criminal Court. If he was carted off, who exactly would you be talking peace with? Because peace is our strategic option, and we sat not with al-Bashir. We sat with the government. With his administration. We sat with the government of national unity, actually, that composed of directed by him, carrying out his wishes.
Well, I think that's the dilemma, actually. But for everybody,
it's more than a dilemma, isn't it? It's a major problem. You break off peace talks in the middle to have him carted off to the ICC. You've got nobody left to talk to.
We broke the peace.
The process falls apart, doesn't it?
We suspended our participation in the talks because al-Bashir violated the very agreement which we signed with him here in Doha. We signed that agreement for him to stop the obstruction of humanitarian assistance. Instead, actually, he expelled the aid workers and the humanitarian organization from Darfur, which used to provide about 60%.
So you're not even talking peace now. Your desire for peace, your declaration of intent didn't last very long, did it? If you've broken off the talks already.
No, we are committed to that declaration of intent. But the other side actually violated that.
How can you be if you've broken off the talks? Who are you talking to now? Nobody.
No, we are not talking to them right now because they are violating that agreement, and because right now they are starting a new phase of genocide against our people by using food actually as a weapon in this conflict.
But you take away the man who is at the center of power there, in the middle of a war, in the middle of a major humanitarian disaster, perhaps the world's worst ongoing humanitarian disaster, and you don't expect the country to fall apart as a result. You're gambling with the lives of tens of millions of people.
No, the one who is gambling is al-Bashir. The one who...
You don't know what the result is going to be, do you? If he's arrested now, or in the next 6 months, you don't know what's going to happen.
If he is arrested,
I don't, but you don't either.
I think if the arrested, Sudan will be a better place, actually. And actually, al-Bashir, the international community stand against al-Bashir. Instead of appeasing al-Bashir, of expelling this humanitarian organization, I think al-Bashir should be punished for this act.
Okay.
Because this is real violation and clear violation to international humanitarian law.
Ahmed Hassan Adam, thank you very much indeed. Now, please let me call on Roland Marchal to speak against the motion.
Huge violations of human rights have been committed in Darfur, and certainly the Sudanese government bears the main responsibility for those acts. The ICC decision is certainly an acknowledgement of the suffering of those people. Again, we have to keep that in mind. Nevertheless, I would be against the motion for three very different reasons. We have to look at ICC as it is, which means a very young institution full of potential, but as well that multiplicated blunders, mistakes, and maybe wrong political choices over the years, not only on Sudan. And I believe that this institution is maybe not as mature as to exercise its mandate today. Its political expertise is really very low, especially on Africa. And then the main point maybe is the ICC shouldn't intervene while the conflict is still on. Certainly, we could see room for the ICC to play a role within transitional justice when the conflict got a settlement where the situation is cooled down, when people could reflect on actually what happened among them. So to say it in a very provocative way, I do not believe that there is peace without justice. The third aspect is the current situation of Sudan. People who were supporting the indictment of President Bashir saw that that will lead to a major improvement in talks and as well as the overall political situation in Sudan. 13 international NGOs have been expelled. Sudanese human rights activists and journalists have been arrested. And we don't see that the regime is going to show very much flexibility in the near future. On the other side, as we just witnessed, the insurgency is getting more unrealistic about what he could get from this situation.
Could we come to an end, please?
Many believe that actually the ICC decision is just a further step towards regime change. And of course, this doesn't help to find a settlement in Darfur.